everyone, Linda here, the Scrapbooking photographer, and today's a great day because we're celebrating 2,000 subscribers for Scrappy Kathy's channel. Scrappy Kathy is Kathy Sonia McElfresh, and her channel will be listed down below, and this video will be part of a playlist that she puts together so you can see all of the videos that celebrate her reaching 2,000 subscribers. Well done, Kathy. I am in awe. So if you haven't subscribed to Kathy's channel or my own, then today's the day. It would be great to have you along on the journey. So Kathy suggested that we could scrap lift her, so I have chosen this sketch to scrap lift, and I'm using a photo that was taken during COVID times when a friend and I met up for a coffee on the side of the road. This was a fun thing to do. We hadn't seen each other for a while, and we took our deck chairs and we parked up on a big patch of grass after picking up a coffee from the essential food suppliers at the petrol station. And we got tooted at and waved at and all sorts as people drove past, and it was nice to see each other, and we did maintain our metre distance for social distancing. So that's what I'm going to scrap, and as it happens I have the Stampin' Up suite of Latte Love, and that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to cut some shapes out of the die set and use all these beautiful different papers on a white base with some pecan pie accents and a little ribbon. Here we go. This pack of Love Latte paper is chocker with beautiful patterns, not all coffee related too, so they would be ideal for lots of different purposes and projects. What I'm doing here is just measuring what's going to look best on the page. Now, given that the white cardstock at the back is 12 by 12, I'm going to make the distance across the top about 8.5 of these pieces of paper, and I'll go through and cut them all at 8.5, and then the piece that comes off the other end, of course, becomes 3.5. So in the end, I keep it that width and use those offcuts. Then just putting them onto the page and staggering the way that they line up there. You can see I've got 6, and really it's one too many, so I take one away and put that darkest one down the bottom, because I always like it going from dark at the bottom to light at the top if we can, from heavy to light. And then on the edges of all of these papers, I'm going to use my Tim Holtz distresser to go around the outside and fray the edges a little bit. So I'll do most of them off camera, you don't need to watch me do all that. And then I'll just go around the edges and turn them up a little bit. So I'm using my fingers here just to bend them up, and it will give you a little glimpse of the pattern that's on the underside. And I saw this technique done by Lara Moss, who is a scrappy Kia, another Kiwi in our scrapbooking family. So thank you very much, Lara. There's so many nice papers in this pack because each piece is double-sided, so we can't possibly use them all. So it's quite nice to see just a little peek underneath. Once I've finished rolling all these bits up, I will display them again or stagger them again onto the page and then just see what it looks like with the photo. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of this pecan pie colour to frame it, and rather than having it on the top of all of those papers and covering up that beautiful distressing we've done, I'm going to slip it underneath. Now I could just use the odd bit so I have some of that solid colour coming through, but it's easier just to put the whole piece down there. And then I've also mounted the photo in white, which will bring in a little bit of the white of the background into the foreground, which I quite like too. I took the edge off that greeny piece, and I was going to have it coming out both sides of the photo, but in the end I took it away and just stuck with the 5 pieces and a glimpse of the green out on the left hand side. So once that's all in there, I can start sticking things down. Now I will show you the process that I've used to stick this down. Obviously I've put the photo first on the white mount, and then to get these papers in the right place, I'm just lifting them up and putting a little bit of the double-sided tape underneath where they're sitting. So that way I should get them back in the right place when I bring them back. So once they're all stuck together, they become one big piece that I can then move off to the side to stick down the piece of pecan pie on the background. I love all the names of these new cardstock that we're getting used to. Pecan pie is a lovely colour and I love the name as well. So I've stuck that in the middle, and then when I bring the adhesive in on the back of all our distressed papers, you get to see the patterns that didn't quite make the cut. So I'll turn it back over and stick it all down and then put the photo in on the top. Now when I stick this down, I realise that in the bottom right hand corner I've missed a little bit of pecan pie showing through. Now it's a bit hard to undo the stamp and seal adhesive tape runner that I use, so I've made a little patch to put in there. We can't see the left hand corner, so it could easily be part of the big square. And then that little distressed bit there was a little bit uneven, so I've just rolled it up a bit more. That's the beauty of layouts like this. When they're a bit distressed, we can just fiddle and make it work. The die set that comes with the Love Latte suite has a whole lot of different coffee related shapes in it. So I had some fun picking and choosing what I was going to cut out on the mini die cutting machine, and you can fit quite a bit on the 3 inches wide that you get in the mini machine. And I'm using the stamp set and mocha ink to stamp on top of some of the shapes which have matching stamps. The stamps and the die cuts are available separately or together or as part of the suite, so lots of purchasing options there if you're interested. Once I've finished stamping the tops on these coffee cups, I'm going to actually cut a few more pieces out with a lighter coloured cardstock, the name of which I cannot remember, mainly because the back of the plunger needs to be a lighter colour, so I'll throw in a couple of extra cups as well, and then I'll also stamp them in the mocha ink. And while I'm doing that, I'll just remind you that this is a hop to celebrate Kathy's amazing achievement of 2,000 subscribers. And she has said for everybody to watch her video where she will be having a giveaway as well. So her channel will be listed in the description along with everybody else. So I hope you get a chance to look at the other videos too and share some love with everywhere you go. There'll be lots of inspiration, and I'm looking forward to seeing what other people chose to do to celebrate Kathy's amazing achievement. These die cuts are nearly finished, and I really like the contrast between the pecan pie and the lighter colour. You can see the plunger has been put together, but we'll need to glue that so that it is together before I put it on the page. So I'll just finish stamping the little coffee mark in the top of that mug, and then we can bring the multi-purpose glue in and just put a little bit here and there to make sure the two things are attached before we put them on the page with a little bit of double-sided tape. So that multi-purpose glue is really good for card on card. It's not quite so good at the end of the video when I add some Hessian ribbon, but we'll get to that later. So bringing the page back in, I can just scatter these around in little groups to add a little bit of dimension to the page and a bit of interest. And I've got my 2 little cups that I'll put up the top, and I'll decide where they're going to go when I've finished the title. Now the title I have cut out on my Cricut, and it is offset with the pecan pie and the lighter colour on the front. It was quite intricate doing this fine alphabet, so it did tear in parts, but it does all come together in the right place once I get the glue on it. And I'm using art glitter glue here just because it dries nice and clear, and it also dries quite quickly. So once I've got the lighter colour positioned on that pecan pie, I can race through and finish it all up. So I'll do most of that gluing off camera, you don't need to watch that, but I really like the way the colours combine when I bring it back onto the page. But before I place it on the page, I want to do a little bit more stamping on the cardstock in the background. Now that everything's stuck down, I can see where it should go. So I'm using some splatter stamps and putting them just in different spots, and then I'll add the other smaller stamp, which is a little bit more solid, on the sides. And I really like the way it just really shows some kind of coffee stains on the way through. Now I'll also pop a couple on that top printed area, and then I can put that away and add the title. Now, as I mentioned, it got a bit ripped in the maker machine, so it's just a matter of putting it together, and when it's all stuck down, nobody will know anyway. So it's just positioning it where we want it, and it needs to go over the photo a little bit in the end so that it all fits nicely, because I really wanted all of those words, the COVID coffee ketchup. I think they're all important to the title. And then I'll use the multi-purpose glue again to stick it onto the page. It should dry pretty quickly, and it does give you a little bit of wriggle room to move things around as we need to. And then there's an obvious place for those 2 little cups. And then I've got a few little gems to add. Well, they're not strictly gems. They're called self-adhesive or adhesive-backed swirl dots. And they do come in 3 different coffee colours with a little bit of a swirl on the top. So they're quite different to what we've seen before, and I really like them. So I'll pop those in a few little spots around the page, and then I miraculously find the dot for the eye, which I need to put a little bit of glue on so I can complete that title. But I still think there's a couple of blank spots that need a bit extra splash. So I get the stamps out again and add just a couple of the splashy ones in those lighter areas and up the top there as well. Now, as you may have known from previous videos you've seen, I do like to go around the outside of my pages with the foam dome. So in this case, I'm doing the same thing but with the mocha ink, and that will just define the edge of the page a little more. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of this Hessian ribbon, and I did initially try and stick it down with the multi-purpose glue, but it didn't work, so I had to get out my tacky glue, which is really good for sticking fabric to paper or cardstock, and so I've used that to make sure that these 3 little strips of ribbon go in the one place and they don't move. And I've also completed a little bit of journaling off camera, so that finishes the page off. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this come together. Thank you so much to Kathy for the opportunity to scrap lift her and for letting us take part in this video, and congratulations again for 2,000 subscribers. Happy crafting, everyone!